Hey everybody, so this is Argent with a reactionary review of A Quiet Place. So I know it's kind of early and maybe a bit premature to say film of the year this early in the year, but it's going to be hard to top this one. Even the critics like it. I give it a 10 out of 10 and critics are giving it like 90%, which for a horror movie is completely unheard of. This movie is absolutely amazing. Stop watching my review and go out and just see it, because it's great. So this was directed, produced, and starring John Krasinski. I don't know how you pronounce his name, but Jim from The Office. And that guy can really act. He was great in this movie. Now, what kind of makes it interesting, just from a production standpoint, is he's apparently married to Emily Blunt in real life. Emily Blunt is kind of interesting. She's definitely attractive, but she's kind of one of those women I'd almost say can pull off the being almost kind of more handsome than pretty, if that makes sense. Needless to say, that woman's in incredible shape. But yeah, so they're actually married in real life and they have 2 daughters, which is awesome. But so they're also married in the movie. Just in the pre-show, John said that he asked his wife to be in the movie, and she saw the script, and she's like, I gotta be in this movie with you. I don't want anyone else playing this role. And they definitely had chemistry on screen together. So it's kind of interesting, because despite being a horror movie, this film also is very wholesome and has a lot of heart. So maybe just talk a bit about the premise of the film. So we don't really know why or how, but these creatures have emerged. I try to think of how to describe them. They're kind of, you know, in horror movies, whenever they have like the long limbs, spindly things, they're that. They kind of have almost praying mantis like, I don't know what you call them, talons, arms, whatever. So they're blind and they have armored hides, but they have amazing hearing. So they hunt by sight. So long as you're quiet, they can't actually find you. I don't think they have a sense of smell. So they emerged approximately, I think, like a year and a half before the movie. And it's implied most of society has been killed off by this point, because John's character is constantly fiddling with the radio, trying to see if anybody else is out there, and he's unsuccessful. So the main family appears to largely be alone. So interestingly, they're like a red state white family. So like they live on a farm, and they have 3 children at the start of the movie, at least. And they have like gender roles in their family, and they like eat together and say grace together. And it's kind of surreal to see that in a movie these days. But they have this very kind of wholesome nuclear family, and it really kind of helps you get in and kind of empathize with them and their plight. It's something I really enjoyed seeing on screen. And like I said, when it made a lot of kind of the emotion and feelings in this movie feel a lot more real, because it felt like, at least in my case, kind of what my family was like. And yeah, so these creatures emerged, and it's implied they've killed off most of the human population. They've also killed off a lot of the animal population, because there's like raccoons at one point and they get eaten. Thank God, that's the only good thing that the creatures did. But so they're just trying to live their lives on the farm without making any sound. And it's like the creatures are extremely sensitive. Like if you knock over a lantern, if you like step on a nail, like if all these things happen, any of these things happen and you make a sound, the creatures just show up and try to kill you. Like at one point in the movie, there's an old man whose wife got eaten by one of them, and he just yells, and a creature immediately shows up, cuts him in half, and starts to eat him. And the whole sound thing is very much kind of like that movie Don't Breathe, where just the sound is it adds a lot of tension, because you can have the creatures go right up next to the person and them kind of like looking directly at each other, but still have like tension in the scene. Is there going to get away? Is there going to be another sound? Are they going to be able to keep quiet? Like, this is a film where you're on the edge of your seat. You don't know if anyone's going to die, when, where, how. Are they going to get away? Are they going to defeat the creatures? And I really kind of went into the movie not really knowing where anything was going to go. And that's a good thing when you're dealing with horror movies. This film didn't really have many cliches, at least not of horror movies. But yeah, so they're just it's a very creative movie, kind of the focus on sound, the focus, like, etc. Like, it's kind of interesting, like, one scene they go to a waterfall and they can talk freely there because the water's so loud. And kind of one of the interesting things is Emily Blunt's character is pregnant. It's implied, well, given the timeline, she got pregnant even after the emergence. So obviously her and her husband still love each other, and they're still willing to bring life into this world, despite how kind of horrible it is. So, like I said, red state family. So she has to give birth in basically silence. And it's a very tense scene. She like steps on a nail, and there's a lot of kind of Chekhov's gun stuff in it, but it's just really, really tense, like I said. And you don't really know kind of what they're going for with this movie. Is it going to be a tragedy where everyone gets killed? Is it going to be like not that much of a horror movie and everybody gets away in the end, and it kind of has a happy ending? You just don't know, and the film keeps you on the edge of your seat. And there's just a lot of kind of really interesting scenes they did with this. Like, there's a scene in a corn silo. They're like drowning in the corn. And that was like really, really scary. And they just does a good job of taking kind of mundane stuff and just kind of having this air of menace. The movie doesn't have to rely on jump scares. It doesn't have to rely on gore. There's, I think, only like one semi-gory scene in this movie. But I like that. It doesn't have to rely on that. I guess you could maybe argue it's jump scares because the creatures show up. But it's like an established part of the lore, and they can always hear them coming. Or it cuts to them coming. So it's not like it just jumps, like the camera cuts like rapidly. And I hate jump scares. So I would just say, if you want to see a great horror movie, a great suspense movie that has surprisingly a lot of heart and is just really, really wholesome, I can definitely give, well, I'm holding the camera, but there's my thumb, 2 thumbs up for The Quiet Place. A Quiet Place. Go see the movie. Stop watching this review. Maybe the best film of the year. Let it never be said that I can't like a movie and I can't give a positive review.